Oh yeah. What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you coming on in. Let's go ahead, just a little bit belated, but let's go ahead and finish out side 2 of Nektar's A Tab in the Ocean with the second half. Kind of spat on that. With the second half of the album. We had listened to A Tab in the Ocean, the title track, the first side, quite a while back. But now we're finally going to continue on with side 2, which is only going to be 4 songs. It's going to be Desolation Valley, Waves, which is actually connected here on Spotify, Crying in the Dark, and then King of Twilight, ending out the album, released in 1972. Like I said, it's been a long time since we listened to the title track. I just finished listening to it right now, and I don't know what I originally thought of it, but it's really good. It's really, really good. It would actually kind of work as like a Halloween playlist. I think it would kind of work on there, so that's kind of good. But anyways, I really want to give a shout out specifically to Brad Hernandez, who never let me forget to come back to this album. And I've always kept it in my mind. I just kind of put it off here and there, put it off, and before you know it, it's been a while. So, Brad, thank you so much for continuing to remind me about listening to the album, being respectful and being nice about it too. Because sometimes people ask for stuff, and not like necessarily subscribers, but like random people kind of show up and they're like kind of disrespectful about it, and I don't really like that. That's not really the way to get me to want to listen to something. So thank you so much, Brad, for that. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead, finish out the album. I'm excited. I love the artwork, as I mentioned before. I love the artwork. The cover is just probably one of that's one of those albums that you would be shopping at a record store and you see that album cover and I think you just have to get it. You have to go with it. That's great. I love that. So let's go ahead and listen to Desolation Valley / Waves, which, like I said, are connected here on Spotify, so we'll listen to it as such, although they are 2 separate tracks here on the original track listing. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go.
Take a look around yourself and see what I see. Persecuted eyes look down on me. I can't take no more. Ooh, what I took before. Help me please, I'm falling down. Desolation Valley now.
Slowly down to the end of our playing.
with reality. You won't see no more like it did before. Watch yourself, you're falling down. Desolation running down.
I like how that's used to settle the dust. It stops right there for that specific track. I promise we'll go back and let the transition play because obviously it's continuing on into the next track, which is Crying in the Dark. Coming back to Desolation Valley / Waves. This track, these two tracks, easily live up to its title. Okay? There's so much space, atmosphere just left in this track. I love it. I love the way that it builds up. I love the colors that are used in the music and like the flashes of melody. If I can say really quick, listening to this reminded me of 3 bands. I was listening, I'm like, this sounds like 3 bands to me. It sounds like Pink Floyd in some ways. Sounds like, this is like the smallest percentage. A little bit reminds me of like Caravan and Canterbury Scene, just a little bit. There's that little jazziness that's sprinkled in, especially at the beginning, that just makes me think that. And the way that the organ is used, especially in there. And then I felt some Eloy as well. Like if you take those 3, toss them in together, stir it up a little bit, I think that you get a little bit of this. I think you get a little bit of Desolation Valley / Waves. I think everything was perfectly played here. It's the atmosphere that I'm really just like lost in with this one. There's no necessarily soaring solos, but the music soars in certain moments. They have a really great way of composing and progressing the track and building up to colorful highs and peaks and bringing it down, like I said, kind of settling the dust and bringing you back into this Desolation Valley, these calm waves as the guitar just kind of drifts you along and takes you places. I love how the bass playing is not necessarily reserved in the pocket, but still very, very active. There's just such a relationship between all the band members that I can't even necessarily single one out as like being the force major of like all of it. They kind of all play with these colors and these palettes, and they kind of all provide the different shades and layers here in the music. But like I said, I do, if I can, kind of single someone out. That would be the bass playing and the organ. Bass being played by Derek Moore, and the organ and keyboards being from Alan Freeman. The lead vocals from Roy Albrighton were just very like calm, neutral, didn't really do too much. The little spoken word at the end I thought was nice. It kind of shakes things up just a little bit, adds a certain kind of narration and story to everything. And of course, this is leading on into the next track, which we'll get to shortly. But I think that like this was just a really solid atmospheric track to just kind of get lost in. Like I said, it reminds me of Pink Floyd and the way that, of course, you get lost in Gilmour's guitars and everything. But they have a unique way of doing it and a unique genre bending kind of twist to them, you know? Like I said, I wasn't expecting that slight jazzy touch in the beginning, the way that, of course, it kind of progresses into something proggy but not demonstrative. Like I said, there's no like big flashy solos or anything like that, no dramatic vocals. It's just all very evenly laid, if you will. So I'm excited to see how this continues on into the next track and even the subsequent track after that, because like I said, this is a nice atmospheric beginning for side B. I'm curious to see, like, is this going to like get grand and bigger, or is this gonna kind of stay in the same realm? We'll find out. But let's talk about these lyrics first. Take a look around yourself and see what I see. Persecuted eyes look down on me. I can't take no more of what I took before. Help me please, I'm falling down Desolation Valley now. Take a look around yourself and see what I see. Imagination merged with reality. You won't see no more like you did before. Watch yourself. You're falling down Desolation Valley now. So, of course, there's some sort of change. He's saying that persecuted eyes look down on him and he can't take no more of what he took before. And he's falling down Desolation Valley. Is he feeling regret or depression about perhaps actions he took against a group of people? Because he said persecuted eyes, so eyes that have felt pain of some sort, are looking down on him. Like perhaps he's the one that's caused that pain. Imagination merged with reality. There's a little bit of a psychedelic touch in the music, definitely, but also in the lyrics here. And then the end, which I guess is the waves section. Wind of change, tide of time. Is it real or is it just my mind? Turn the key, open the door. Don't make believe you've seen this before. So don't pretend this is something that you've had experience with. This is going to be something completely new, a completely new experience. He talks about opening the door, perhaps his third eye, his mind's eye. And I don't know, there's just a lot of dreamy imagination kind of stuff going on. By the way, I haven't seen The Sandman. I heard a lot of good things about it. Perhaps I'll give that a look. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on into the next track here, which is going to be Crying in the Dark. I'll let the last few seconds here of Desolation Valley / Waves play. Long crossfade. Funky wah wah, never hurt nobody. Oh, that's totally interesting. Yeah, I'll never hurt.
I've been trying so hard. I've been crying in the dark. Don't forsake me. The time of man is near. Don't ever break me. And the world that brought me here.
That's awesome.
I
jumpsuit. All right, I know, but it's moving into the next track, King of Twilight. We gotta back it up. We gotta talk about Crying in the Dark. Okay, I told you they're setting you up with the atmosphere. It feels good. You're dwelling in the deep. You're feeling good, right? You're moving with the waves. You're sitting in the desolation, and then, just like that, coming out of it, long crossfade, by the way. But geez, do they start with the funk? You get that really fun wah-wah guitar in the beginning. Bass eventually joins in, adding this particular groove. The drums just slowly, very slowly begin to escalate. When that hi-hat comes in, though, you know something's coming. And guitar is like, I mean, all of them truly are going. But Roy, woo, 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 woo. This is when he's going. This is when he's playing Vesuvius and just blowing up, blowing his top. That was intense. That was fun. This track, I would think, I don't know, I could look real quick. This track feels like a single to me. It's 5 minutes long, that's not that long. 6 minutes long, I should say. This feels like a single, though, to me. Because even though there's not really like a catchy chorus or anything like that, it still has like a certain kind of radio, at least maybe to me, a radio playability to it, especially with that guitar and the way the music escalates. And it does so pretty quick. And the music is fun. It may not be catchy in a traditional sense, but it's very fun, very easy to jam out to. Like when it's getting into, yeah, I love the funk and the way the sound begins, but right here, you got that strong organ riff accompanied by guitar. Some would say guitar riff accompanied by organ. I love the pulse of the bass. Bum, 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 bum. And on at the back end of that, bum, 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 bum. Bass is also going off at that end. Bum, bum. Like, it just feels so good. It's kind of, it's a little dancey, you know? I could dance to this. This is some dancey prog. Absolutely. This singing even takes a little bit of a hard turn as well into something a little bit more rock and roll traditional to an extent. That is, let me turn this down, by the way. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You get this breakdown so smooth, accompanied by cowbell. This has riffability. This has riff playability, like replayability, but riff replayability. Just the way that they're coming up with these and that break, bum 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 bum. It's so fun. It's so easily digestible. This is a great track. His singing there, it reminds me of someone, and I cannot think of who. You know what? It reminds me just a little bit of like Wetton. A little bit. Maybe, I think I'm feeling a little bit of UK. Maybe in the vocal department. Just like a little bit. But either way, sounds really good. But it's really when Roy starts getting to that guitar. You skip this, right? Starting here. With that pulse of the bass. Oh, guys. And then just adding that little triplet on the hi-hat. It's one of those little small things, but it adds a whole new dimension of movement to the music. It's the smallest things, but it's fabulous. Oh, man. The sense of urgency and drama and escalation builds up in these solos, and from these solos, finishing out with that. Oh, that's smooth. Oh, that's smooth. This was no joke. That was no joke. I'm not crying in the dark listening to that. I'm happily sobbing, perhaps. But no, that's really good. These lyrics. I've been trying so hard. I've been crying in the dark. Don't forsake me, the time of man is near. Don't ever break me in the world that brought me here. Sick and lonely, waiting for you, sick and lonely, wondering what to do. Can you hear me when I say to you, you give me your hand, I'll give mine to you. Well, I guess the question is who or what is he waiting for? He does say the time of man is near. I don't know what that means. So I gotta be honest, sometimes I read lyrics and I'm like, I have no idea what you're trying to tell me. I don't know what you're trying to say to me. He's waiting for someone or something. He says if they reach out to him, he will reach out to them. The time of man is near, don't ever break me, the world that brought me here. I don't know, but I like the music, so let's go ahead and listen to some more of that. We'll let the last few seconds of Crying in the Dark play, and we'll move on into the last track, which is King of Twilight, which is a really cool name, by the way. So let's go ahead and let the last 20 seconds or so play. He's just and then sliding. Is that a country accent wise? Sliding. That's so metal.
When the king of twilight shows me, I will take 10 steps to see. For she leads our way to freedom. For a chance to be free. For a chance to be free.
That's how it ends. Wow. Now that's an ending. That's a stark ending. Hold on. There's 2 seconds left. Let me make sure there's nothing left. Okay. No. That. Why are we going? I love the album Still Life, but why are we going to Van de Graaff Generator? That's how you end an album. Just cut it off. Leave your message to be open to interpretation. Okay. King of Twilight is so metal, it's not even funny. That whole roll and then the organ coming out after. Oh, I love that. I love that chugging along. I've loved it ever since listening to, like, I don't know, 90s new metal, because that's what, like, I grew up on in a sense. And even the vocals offer this ominous kind of haunting hymnal in the way that they're like singing over that chugging beat. That's really cool. Like I said, very dark, very metal. And speaking of metal, oh god, I just lost my point. Nope, I got it. This sounded like something Dio would cover. Like, it sounds like right in that genre. Parts of it actually reminded me of Uriah Heep a little bit as well, especially with that organ combination. But that sounded so cool. Then they kind of get into a little proggy jam for a bit. Let me go back to it. I don't know why Pilgrims came up. I really love that song, but that's not what I want to listen to at this exact moment. But once you hear this roll, I'm in. Kind of like a marching army in a sense. And there's no double bass that's being played there, as it would be guaranteed if this was a modern metal song. It's just him on the floor toms there. That's going to be Ron Howden who's providing that. He's just which gives it almost a more, kind of like what I mentioned, like an army marching, but like a, not necessarily a tribal feel, but just something a little bit more raw and earthly and a little more human in the way that that's being played there. And even if I come back up to this part, I was trying to not go that far. Here, this is where it really culminates. The voices overflow. The cup is still hard and heavy and so dense. And I really love the way organ and guitar come out there. It's just such an addicting rhythm, at least personally. Like, I could listen to that rhythm almost all day, and it will never get old. And the vocals, of course, soar over it. But when we get into the little breaks over here, it kind of becomes something a little bit more catchy. And it was right here that I was kind of like feeling a little bit of Uriah Heep kind of flavor, in that we have these epic, near like metal kind of epic rock kind of sound, but then we kind of get into these catchy little moments that sound a little bit more normal, radio friendly for lack of a better word, but it's still jamming very, very hard. And I'm sorry, but this album would be so fun to drum along with. I'm sorry that I keep on, like, I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm just listening to it and just like hearing it. But the transitions back into that rolling rhythm, absolutely beautiful. And I love the organ there as well. The lyrics on this one: when the King of Twilight shows me, I will take 10 steps to see. 40 leaves I pay to freedom for a chance to be free. When the King of Twilight calls you, take a step and you will see. For we all need a quick solution for a chance to be free. When the King of Twilight shows me, I will take 10 steps to see. 40 leaves I pay to freedom for a chance to be free, for a chance to be free. So I'm just imagining the King of Twilight is basically death, like the twilight of your life. When death comes to you, you pay to be free. When the King of Twilight shows me, then the next stanza, when the King of Twilight calls you, then the last one, when the King of Twilight shows me. So it's once again this kind of interesting progression of he's showing you, he's calling you, and then he's showing you again. And all of this, the end results and the ending response and action taken by the protagonist or the point of view is to be free. That is all we want to be. Now, once again, could this be death? Could this be freedom in some relation to death or the afterlife? I'm not quite sure. He says, 40 leaves I pay to freedom, which reminds me of River Styx. I always forget the guy's name, Sharon, who takes you across the River Styx, takes you to the afterlife, or all that stuff. So, like, paying the ferryman, in a sense. but 40 leaves I pay to freedom. Not sure exactly what that means. We all need a chance to be free. But what is freedom? And, of course, at what cost? I ain't got no idea. The music was kicking, though. So, let me know what you guys thought of the second half of the album. Let me know what you thought of these tracks. Let me know perhaps your favorite one out of these. I would say out of these specific tracks, I'm going to probably go with Crying in the Dark. Crying in the Dark is pretty good. I think, no. Do I want to say Desolation Valley Waves? I just like the atmosphere so much in that. I think I would go with Desolation Valley and Waves, I think. Or Crying in the Dark. It's one of the two. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel on Patreon. Brad, thank you, and special shout out to you for continually reminding me to get back to this album. I appreciate it, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you as always for being here, and I will see you later. Bye.